The planet had no name. It floated in the silent dark just beyond the reach of any sun. Its skies were gray, its lands broken, and its air poisonous. Yet, something ancient rested there. Something that drew the attention of thousands of alien species across the galaxy. A black cube the size of a house hovered 1 meter above the cracked surface. It never moved. It never spoke. But it hummed softly, like it was breathing, like it was alive. The first species to find it called themselves the Thalkiri. They were tall, shining creatures made of liquid light. They believed the cube was a gift from the gods. They sent their leader to touch it. He reached out with shaking hands, and in a second he was gone. No scream, no flash, just gone. They ran, terrified. Next came the Volari, a warlike race of metal-skinned giants. They tried to break the cube with weapons, energy cannons, sonic blasts, nuclear fire. But the cube did not flinch. Then they tried to lift it. Machines failed. Then they tried to touch it, and one by one, they were burned into ash. Only shadows remained on the ground. Soon, the whole galaxy knew of the relic. Some called it the Stone of Judgment. Others said it was the heart of a god. Some believed it was cursed, a test, a trap, a doorway. But one thing became clear. No species could control it. No one could understand it. No one could survive. Yet for 500 years the cube rejected every attempt. Beings with brains like stars, creatures with 10 minds, machines that thought faster than time, all failed. Some species formed a council, a group of powerful alien leaders who made one rule: stay away from the forbidden planet, and so the cube waited, alone, until Earth found it. Humans were late to space. They had only just begun to travel beyond their own star. They had no great weapons, no ancient knowledge, no evolved powers. But they were curious, and they were stubborn. A deep space probe picked up strange readings, a low humming signal, coming from a dead planet. The data confused human scientists. The signal was not natural. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Some thought it was a trap. Others said it was a relic from a lost alien civilization. So they sent a ship, not a warship, just a small crew with one mission: investigate and report. Among the crew was a man named Eli Winters. He wasn't a scientist. He wasn't even supposed to go. He was a retired soldier, quiet, broken from old wars. He had volunteered after his family died in a shuttle accident. He said he wanted silence. He didn't speak much during the journey, just sat alone watching stars. When the ship landed, the crew wore suits to protect them from the poisonous air. The planet looked like death. No color, no sound, no life, just wind and dust. And the cube. It floated just as the report said. Perfect, black, humming. The others set up scanners, tried to measure it, tried to talk to it in code, tried to record its energy. Nothing worked. The closer they got, the more their machines failed. One crew member tried to touch it. His suit melted instantly. He survived, but his arm was gone. They wanted to leave. But something strange happened. The cube started glowing. Not bright, just a soft pulse, like it was waiting. That night Eli had a dream. He was standing before the cube. It wasn't dark anymore. It was covered in strange symbols, moving, shifting. They whispered, not in words, but in feelings: pain, loneliness, hunger. Then he heard one word: come. Eli woke up sweating. The others were asleep. The planet outside was silent. He got up, put on his suit, and walked out alone. No one stopped him, no one saw him go. When he reached the cube, it was glowing softly again. The symbols from his dream were real, shifting across its surface. He stood still. He didn't understand them, but he felt them. They weren't warning him. They were calling him. He took off his glove. The air was toxic. His skin burned, but he didn't care. He reached out and touched it. The hum stopped. For the first time in 500 years, the cube was silent. Then it exploded in light, not outward, but inward. like a door opening inside itself. The energy moved through Eli's arm, through his veins, into his mind. He didn't scream. He didn't move. He just stood, eyes wide, breathing slow. He saw things. A sky filled with black suns, cities made of sound, creatures that spoke in dreams, a war that happened before time, a betrayal, a punishment, and the last words of an ancient voice, "You are not like them." The light faded. Eli was still standing. The cube was still floating, but now it was warm to the touch. The symbols stopped moving. They had formed into a single shape, a circle with a line through it. Eli didn't know what it meant, but the alien council did. When the humans sent their data back, the glowing cube, the human contact, panic spread across the stars. The council held emergency meetings. Planets locked their borders. Some races prepared for war because something had changed. The Relic had chosen someone, and for the first time, it chose a human. Eli Winters didn't speak much after he touched the Relic. He sat quietly in the ship, staring out of the window at the dead planet below. His crewmates watched him with nervous eyes. They had seen what happened, the way the black cube glowed when Eli touched it, the way it lit up the sky like a second sun, and how it didn't harm him, not like the others. No burns, no melting, no screams. Just silence. Captain Marla tried to ask questions. "Eli, are you feeling all right?" He nodded slowly but said nothing. The ship's doctor ran tests, brain scans, blood samples. Everything showed something strange. His body temperature was a little lower, his heartbeat slower, his brain activity much higher than normal, and his eyes, they had changed. Not in color, but in focus, like he was always watching something the others couldn't see. When they returned to Earth's orbit station, the news had already spread. The Relic had accepted a human, alien species. All across the galaxy demanded answers. Protests started near Earth's outer colonies. Some alien leaders claimed this was a lie. Others said humans had somehow hacked the Relic, but a few, they knew the truth. The cube had never reacted to any other species. For 500 years, it had destroyed everything that touched it. Until Eli Winters, the Galactic Council, made of the oldest, most powerful species, and sent a direct message to Earth. They wanted to question Eli, study him. Some even hinted he should be detained for safety. Earth refused. They said Eli was one of their own, and no harm had come to him. The Relic had made contact, not caused damage. Still, security doubled. Eli was moved to a secret base on the moon, but he didn't seem afraid. He just kept whispering things in his sleep. The doctors wrote down some of his words. Circles inside circles. The lock is almost broken. They're watching through broken stars. The gate must never open. No one knew what it meant. But late one night, the lights in Eli's room flickered. The security cameras went black for exactly 6 minutes. When they turned back on, Eli was standing in the middle of the room, eyes glowing faintly. On the wall behind him, a shape had been burned into the metal. The same symbol that appeared on the Relic when he touched it. A circle, with a line through it. At the same time, on a planet thousands of light years away, something else happened. In the dark archives of the Iraq hive minds, a forbidden section lit up for the first time in millennia. Machines screamed, old texts unlocked, and a name appeared on their ancient walls. The Touchbearer. The Iraq, a spider-like species that remembered things no one else did, sent an emergency signal to the Council. One of their leaders, a pale, thin creature named Commander Silkar, stood before the Council and said only one sentence. "If the Relic has chosen a host, the prison is weakening." The Council fell silent. They knew what it meant. The Relic was not a simple object. It was not a tool or a message or a puzzle. It was a lock, a cage. And now Eli Winters had the key. Back on the moon, Eli began drawing things on the walls of his room. With no tools, just his fingers. Strange shapes, old symbols, and star maps no one had seen before. One scientist finally noticed a pattern. The drawings formed a path, not just in space, but in time, a journey. One night Eli spoke, not in his voice. A cold, calm voice came from his mouth. I am not him, but I see through him. He listens, and now, so must you. The scientists froze. They recorded everything. The voice continued. Your kind was never meant to be chosen, but you are flawed. And that is why the relic accepted him. Compassion, sorrow, pain, keys born in weakness. Then the voice went silent. Eli collapsed. When he woke up, he didn't remember any of it. But now he could see things, not visions, real things. When he closed his eyes, he could see the relic, still floating, still glowing, even across space. He could feel it in his blood. It was calling him back. Meanwhile, the council prepared a secret mission. They would not wait for the relic to choose again. They feared what it might unlock. They sent a kill squad, beings with no emotions, no fear, no names, bred only to destroy. Their order was simple: find Eli Winters, erase him, destroy Earth if needed. But they didn't know what the relic had already done. Because Eli was changing, he could hear whispers in electricity, feel gravity like wind. When he stood near water, it rippled before he touched it. Machines turned on when he looked at them. The relic had given him something, and it was growing inside him. One night, he stood outside the base on the moon, staring at Earth. He whispered, "It's not a gift." Behind him, the shadows shifted. Something ancient had followed him back, and it wasn't alone. The shadows around Eli Winters moved even when the wind didn't. Inside the moon base, lights flickered more often. Computers shut off by themselves. Scientists heard whispers in static. The commander of the base ordered an investigation, but the technicians found nothing, just power failures and strange energy spikes coming from Eli's room. Eli had stopped sleeping. He no longer ate much. He didn't feel cold or heat. He barely blinked, but he still spoke like a man. Sometimes. One evening, he asked a question out of nowhere. Do you believe time is a straight line? The doctor beside him paused. What do you mean? Eli looked at the floor, then up at the ceiling. Time has scars, and some things bleed through. That night, the symbols returned to the walls, but now they were moving, like they were alive. Some scientists ran out of the room screaming. One of them went blind after staring too long. And then, Eli collapsed. His body went cold. His pulse stopped. Alarms blared. Medics rushed in. They checked his vitals. No heartbeat, no brain activity. He was dead for exactly 13 minutes. Then he sat up, eyes open, voice different. I saw it, he whispered. The first war. No one moved. The lights dimmed again, and Eli began to speak, calmly, like someone remembering a nightmare they couldn't wake from. He described things no human should know, a time before the galaxies were shaped, before stars were born, back when only the creators existed, beings made of pure thought and endless will. They built the first worlds using sound and light, but then one of them turned. A single creator whose name had been erased from every language wanted more. More control, more power. It created life, not to help, but to feed on it. The other creators tried to stop it, but it had already made an army. Planets burned, suns vanished, reality cracked, and in the end, they didn't kill the betrayer, they trapped it inside a cage of impossible energy. The relic, the judgment stone. But the creators knew it was only a matter of time before someone came along with the right combination of emotions, thoughts, and weakness to unlock it. That someone was human. The moment Eli touched the relic, he formed a link to the prisoner inside. He became its window, its voice, its chance. That's why the relic rejected all other species. They were too perfect, too controlled. But humans were emotional, fragile, and full of sorrow. Exactly what it needed. The room fell silent. No one could explain how Eli knew all this, but far away the relic began to change again. Satellite drones watching it from orbit sent warnings to Earth. The cube's surface was splitting like it was cracking open. Symbols danced faster, and for the first time, a sound echoed from the relic, a deep, low voice, not speaking words, just humming. And all across the galaxy, the oldest species began to panic. The Iraq hive shut down their planet. The Tavorians began building evacuation ships. The Council sent a final message to Earth. Surrender Eli Winters, or we will come. Take him. Earth refused again. But fear was growing fast. Back on the moon, Eli was placed in isolation. No tech allowed, no cameras. But it didn't matter. He didn't need machines now. He could see through walls, hear heartbeats, smell thoughts, and he knew the Council had sent killers. A fleet of warships was already on the way. Silent, fast, invisible. Their job: destroy the moon base, kill Eli, and then erase any humans who had knowledge of the relic. But before they could arrive, something else did. A shape appeared in space, not on any radar, not from any species. It looked like a broken moon made of metal, with thousands of arms stretching out like roots. No one saw it come. It was just there. And inside, that something watched. Eli stood by the glass wall of his room and whispered, "It remembers me." One guard heard him. "What does?" Eli slowly turned. The part of it that never slept. Just then, alarms rang. The unknown object in space had released something. Black pods, falling toward the moon. The Council hadn't sent them. Earth hadn't sent them. They came from inside the relic, and they were looking for Eli. Security scrambled. Defense systems fired on the pods. Some were destroyed, but not all. One pod landed on the far side of the moon. It opened like a blooming flower. From inside crawled something tall, thin, and silent. It had no face, no eyes. Just a body made of smooth black metal and long fingers that bent the wrong way. It walked toward the base, ignoring bullets, fire, and laser cannons. Nothing stopped. Eli sat on the floor, calmly waiting. The walls began to hum again, and in his mind, the voice returned. "We are close. You see now. You feel it. One more piece, and the lock will break." Then, Eli's eyes rolled back, and the walls around him began to melt. The walls of Eli's room were no longer metal. They were soft, shifting, like black skin. The base siren screamed, but no sound reached Eli. Everything outside his chamber had gone quiet. He stood in the center, arms at his side, his shadow stretching in every direction even though there was no light. The strange, faceless being from the pod had reached the base. Soldiers opened fire, but the bullets passed through it like smoke. It moved slowly, but nothing could stop it. Every camera watching it went static. Every sensor failed. It didn't kill. It just walked. Straight toward Eli's room. Eli didn't seem surprised. His voice, soft but heavy, echoed from the room. "It's not a soldier. It's a messenger." Security officers tried to evacuate the base, but the doors began to seal themselves, not by command, but by will. One by one, control systems turned against them. Screens showed static, then symbols, the same ones that had appeared on the relic, the same that Eli had drawn. Then, the base AI spoke on its own. Lock disengaging, initiating relic sequence, but no one had programmed it. In orbit, Earth Command watched in silence as the moon base started glowing, not from power but from something inside. Like energy was building beneath the surface. Eli closed his eyes. He could see the stars, but they were wrong. Twisted. He saw the past, the war of the creators, the building of the relic, the betrayal, and then the prisoners. Because it wasn't Just one. The relic didn't hold a single being, it held seven. 7 minds, 7 voices, 7 punishments, and now one of them was awake and watching through Eli's eyes. The faceless being entered Eli's chamber. No alarms, no panic. It simply stopped, stood still, and reached out a long hand. Eli didn't move. Then the being pressed its hand to Eli's chest and vanished. No light, no explosion. It simply dissolved into him. Eli gasped. His body lifted into the air, eyes burning gold. His veins lit up like wires. Symbols danced across his skin, and his voice echoed in 3 tones at once. I have been seen. Now I must become. Across the galaxy, the relic pulsed like a heartbeat. Other relics, forgotten, buried, sleeping, began to glow too. Yes, there were others. 7 cages, 1 for each prisoner, and now one was no longer locked. Back on Earth, scientists panicked. Leaders argued. Some begged to hand Eli over to the Galactic Council. Others wanted to destroy him. But no one had answers, and no one noticed what Eli had become. He no longer needed food, air, rest. He walked through the sealed doors of the base like mist. Where he stepped, metal rusted, glass cracked, lights dimmed. The relic had changed him. He was not fully human anymore. A voice inside him whispered constantly, like an old friend speaking from the edge of madness. You are the touchbearer, the door, the key, and the mistake. Eli didn't. Run! He let the base fall behind him as escape pods fired. He stood in silence on the cold rock of the moon, looking up at Earth. And he remembered his daughter's smile, the last message from his wife before the shuttle accident, the sound of their laughter. The reason he went to space in the first place was to be alone, and now he had become the center of the galaxy's fear. He whispered, "Why me?" And the voice answered, "Because only a broken mind can carry the weight of the truth." Away, the Galactic Council's warships reached the solar system, but it was too late. From the site of the original relic, a pulse of energy shot into space, faster than light, impossible to trace. It didn't destroy. It unlocked. And across the stars, another cage broke. Another prisoner woke up and screamed. Planets on the edge of the galaxy went dark, not exploded, just gone. Like someone erased them from reality. Back on Earth, children started dreaming of a black sun. In their sleep, they whispered the same words. He is chosen, but not alone. Eli fell to his knees. Blood leaked from his eyes. His voice cracked as he cried, "Stop it, I didn't want this." But the relic, inside him, pulsed again, and he saw it. A path, a place beyond galaxies, a world built to hide the final lock. He had to go there, not to escape, but to end it. He turned his face toward the stars. His body lifted. He didn't need a ship. The relic was his ship now, and behind him, carved into the surface of the moon, was a new symbol, not a circle, but a crack. Eli Winters drifted through space without a ship. No oxygen, no engines, just thought, and the thing inside him. He didn't breathe anymore. He didn't need to. Stars passed by like slow sparks. Time didn't feel real out here. The relic inside his body kept him alive, awake, and aware. It whispered directions, not in words but in pulls. His body was drawn to something, a place no map showed, a planet older than light. You must go where watchers sleep, the voice inside him said. No one in the galaxy spoke of that place. Not even the oldest species. It was hidden on purpose, buried in shadow. Only the relic remembered it, because they had built it. The Watchers, beings not of flesh or bone, not even energy. They were eyes, pure sight, pure awareness. They didn't create things. They didn't destroy. They only watched. and they remembered everything. Eli landed on the planet without touching it. He floated down through a black sky full of dead stars. The air shimmered, but there was no wind. The surface of the world was smooth, like glass. But when Eli looked closer, he saw the truth. The entire planet was made of eyes. Billions of frozen, unblinking eyes, some the size of moons, some no bigger than dust, and every one of them was watching him. Eli's skin crawled. The relic inside him pulsed like a second heart. It was afraid. This was the only time he had felt it, the fear coming from it. He took a step, the ground whispered. Not in sound, but in feeling. "Why do you come here, broken child?" He answered without speaking. "To understand, to stop what's coming." The eyes blinked, all of them, once. Then silence again. Eli kept walking. With every step, memories rushed into his mind, but they weren't his. He saw a universe before this one, a black sea full of fire, beings of shape and song building, worlds like puzzles. Then he saw the betrayal again, the creator who tried to consume, the one who broke the rule of watchers, the one who tried to become the thing all others feared. God. The watchers had stopped it once, but only by dividing. Its 7 minds, 7 prisons, 7 relics hidden across galaxies, and now, 2 had awakened. The eyes showed Eli flashes of the second. It had no shape. It lived in silence, on a world of caves so dark even death forgot them. And now, it too had found a voice. Another touch-bearer. Eli dropped to his knees. He wasn't the only one anymore. Somewhere out there, another human, or maybe something worse, had been chosen by a second relic, and that being would not stop. It would open the rest. Suddenly, the ground around Eli split open. A stairway of light spiraled, down into the planet, no heat, no sound, just waiting. He descended. The further he went, the more he felt his thoughts unraveling. Numbers reversed. Words forgot themselves. Time moved sideways. But he kept going, until he reached the center. There, floating in the middle of a giant chamber, was a heart, not human, not alien, just a pulsing thing of light and shape. And around it, 7 thrones. Empty. Eli stepped forward. The voice returned, but now it wasn't a whisper, it was them, all of them, the watchers. "You were not meant to reach this place. You were not meant to carry what you now hold." Eli spoke aloud, voice shaking. "Then take it from me." The chamber shook. "It cannot be taken. Only passed. You are no longer a man. You are a fracture." He felt his bones tremble, his memories blur, but he stayed standing. "I need to stop the others," he said. "I need to lock them again." The watchers said nothing. Instead, they showed him a vision. 7 humans, 7 relics, all chosen, all walking toward the same point, a convergence. When they meet, the cage ends, and what was once whole will rise. Eli screamed, "Then help me stop it." But the watchers didn't answer. They only watched. Then they gave him something. A shape. Not an object. Not a weapon. An idea. It burned into his mind like fire. A plan so dangerous even the relic inside him recoiled in pain. He understood. To stop the others, he had to break his own link. He had to, but not here, not like this. He had to do it at the right time, in the right place, with one final choice, and maybe, that would seal the relics again. Eli opened his eyes. He was back on the surface. The eyes were gone. The planet was gone. He was floating in space again, changed, heavier, full of purpose. Behind him, the stars bled. Ahead of him, warships waited. The council had found him, and they had brought something else. A weapon not built, but found. Something that had once killed a creator. Eli closed his eyes and whispered, "Let's finish this." The Council had waited for this moment for centuries. In deep silence, beyond human radio waves, their warships surrounded Eli Winters as he floated through space. Over 50 ships, each armed with weapons that had erased planets. But they didn't fire. They were waiting for one ship. The flagship. It arrived through a crack in space, not using engines but folding reality like a piece of paper. It wasn't made of metal. It looked alive. Its surface moved like breathing skin. No windows, no lights, and inside it, kept frozen, guarded, feared, was the weapon. Project Endlight. Even the Council didn't know what it really was. They hadn't built it. They had found it on a dead world where even ghosts had vanished. It had no trigger, it had no power core. It had only one switch and a warning written in a dead language. This was used once, and never again. They were about to use it again. Eli floated still, eyes closed. The relic inside him whispered frantically, "Not this, not this. This thing remembers the pain." Eli opened his eyes. From the warships came a voice. Mechanical. Cold. Eli Winters. "By the laws of the Galactic Accord, you are to be executed. Prepare to be unmade." He said nothing, because he knew they weren't trying to kill him. They were trying to kill what was inside him, a beam of black light fired from the living ship. It didn't glow. It pulled light into it. Time slowed. Space twisted. The beam hit Eli, and for a moment, everything stopped. No sound. No movement. Just white. Then, a shockwave tore through space. Planets shook. Moons cracked. The Council ships drifted, damaged by their own weapon, and where Eli had been, there was a hole. A perfect, round hole in space. A tear in reality. The kind of hole that leaks. And from inside it, something looked out. Not Eli. Not the relic, something older. One of the other prisoners had seen the blast, and it awoke. Back on Earth, scientists screamed as every monitor glitched. Every screen showed the same thing. A spiral, not spinning, just waiting. In the Council fleet, a whisper passed through every soldier's mind. You opened the wrong door. And then Eli came back. He reformed, bone, blood, light, all rebuilding in front of their eyes. But he was different. Half of his face glowed like melted gold. His voice was deeper. Not one, but many voices overlapped when he spoke. You tried to erase me. You almost erased everything. The Council fired again. But Eli waved his hand, and the weapon, Endlight, shut itself down. Its surface turned gray, cracked, and then it screamed, not from speakers, from inside every living being. A scream that had no sound but still broke glass. The weapon was dead, and so was the thing that gave it power. One of the old gods, hidden in the weapon, had finally been destroyed. But destroying it had a cost. Somewhere in a different galaxy, a star stopped burning, and a third relic began to glow. Another prison, unlocked. Eli turned. He saw it, not with eyes, but with the relic's vision. The third prisoner had escaped its cage. Now there were 3, and all of them were looking for the others. The Council's surviving ships backed away. They didn't fight anymore. They ran. They knew now. Eli wasn't just linked to the relic. He was becoming it, becoming something in between a man and a god, something impossible. And worse, he still remembered love. Still remembered Earth. His daughters, laughter. And that made him dangerous, and because the relic's power mixed with human emotion, could twist the universe itself. Eli looked down at his hands. They were no longer shaking. He felt no fear, no pain, only one mission now. I have to find the others before they do. Because if all 7 relics came together, nothing would survive. Not stars, not time, not even death. The universe was changing, faster than anyone could understand. Eli Winters, now half human and half something else, had survived a weapon meant to erase gods. But his journey was just beginning, because when one relic awakens, the others hear it. And now 4 more had answered. They were not like Eli. Each had touched a relic in a different part of the galaxy. Each had become different. The first was found on a planet called Ryzan 4, a world of silence and bones. No cities, no life, only stone towers reaching to the sky like broken fingers. An explorer named Vielle Wren, a woman born on a mining ship, had gone missing there for 30 days. When she returned, she didn't speak. Her skin was cold, her eyes pure white, and every mirror she passed shattered, because Vielle didn't have a reflection anymore. She whispered only one sentence to the doctors. It told me how to make silence scream. And then she vanished from her locked room without opening the door. Some said she dissolved, some said she walked through the wall. But deep in space, something screamed without sound. A relic had chosen her. The second came from a war world, a planet where machines fought endless battles. It found Tarnvesh, a cloned soldier made for war, born in blood, raised without a name. He had died 47 times, brought back, repaired, but the 48th time, his body wasn't found, only a crater, and in the center, a cube humming. When his squad arrived, they saw him standing, naked, unburned, eyes glowing like black stars. He said nothing, but every weapon aimed at him melted. He turned and walked into space. No ship, just walked into the void and never came back. The relic made him a weapon that learned, mind that remembered every war and hated all of them. The third was not found. It was born on a moon called the Hollow Womb, a prison colony. All life abandoned until the screams started again. A woman named Dr. Faye Ilian, once a geneticist, had been banished there for her experiments. No one thought she had survived, but she had. And the relic came to her like a whisper in the blood. She didn't find it. She built it. Her own mind twisted into its shape. When Council Scouts returned to check the moon, they found every creature on the surface fused together into bones braided, eyes open, breathing as one, a single body, dozens of voices, and Dr. Faye sitting in the middle, smiling. "You call it madness," she said. "I call it evolution." The third relic had chosen a creator, a god of flesh. The fourth was the most terrifying because it chose a child, a boy, named Yule, only 6 years old, born on a ship traveling between dead stars. His parents were workers. Nothing special, no enemies, no secrets, until the ship lost contact. When a rescue team arrived, they found every adult sleeping, still breathing, but unable to wake up. And in the command room, the boy sat in the captain's chair, laughing softly, drawing symbols with his fingers. In the air, glowing runes that twisted like worms. When asked who taught him, he pointed to a dark corner and said, "The thing in the mirror, it likes me." Across the galaxy, Eli felt them. 4 pulses, 4 minds, 4 paths starting to twist toward him. He didn't know their names, but he felt what they had become. And, worse, they could feel him too. The relics were calling, pulling, like magnets meant to crash together. Eli stood on the bridge of a stolen ship, alone, hands shaking. His reflection looked less like a man now, eyes gold, veins glowing, skin thin like glass. He knew if all 7 relics came together, reality wouldn't bend. It would break. He looked at a map. One of the pulses was moving fast, toward the center of the galaxy, toward the Veil, a place no one entered. The place of the 7th relic. The final one, the most dangerous, the one never meant to be touched. He had to get there first. He had to stop them, but the relic inside him whispered doubts. "You will fail. You are the weakest. The others are not alone anymore. He ignored it. He focused. Then a new voice came through his ship's comms. Broken. Soft. Familiar. Dad? Is that you? Eli froze. It was his daughter's voice. But she was dead. Long ago. Gone in a shuttle crash. He whispered, "No. No. You're not real." The voice replied, "I'm in the Relic now. I saw you. I saw all of you." Tears welled in Eli's eyes. But he knew the truth. The Relic was testing him, or something inside it was using her voice. He screamed, "Leave her out of this!" And the voice changed. It laughed, not like a child, like all 7 relics laughing at once.